Well, the Dickinson County Commissioners regular meeting, 28th of March, 2024. Order, please stand. Flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do this. If you have cell phones, please silence them or turn them off. Please, appreciate it. Approval of the agenda. There'll be nothing to it. I move we approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda, March 21st meeting and the March 27th canvas meeting minutes. Payroll of $402,440.46. SD security special check for county attorney. Oh, we don't have them out there for this.
SD security.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll find it.
I do on mine.
Do you? Okay.
$231.
No.
No.
You're, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a dollar sign here and I didn't even look at that. We'll
I'll give
put
it.
that as presented. Special check for the county attorney of $231.96. Special county check for the county attorney of $10. Health insurance, $155.80. Abatements of $1,651.56.
Move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Been moved and seconded. We will make a note that will include the security, SD security for.
Hang on, I think I can tell you.
4,500.
560, yes.
4,560. With that addition, I will that already in. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Commission committee comments and committee reports. Ron?
I'd like to take just a few minutes to talk to you just a little bit about, there's been some discussion about holes being dug around Dickinson County, and I too experienced something like that. This is not to take away the severity of what we want to talk about today, but that little humor of what's going on. So I'm out in the field and I see this hole being dug, and then these men were kicking dirt back in the hole, and they do this all day long. At the end of the day, I couldn't take it any longer, and I asked these gentlemen what they were doing, digging these holes and then throwing dirt back in them. And the reply I got back was the company said, we were hired to plant trees, but the guy that was put a tree in the hole, he's on vacation. So it set you up there for just a little bit there. All right, that's all I have today.
Lynn?
Okay, earlier today, I attended a military affairs council breakfast over at Junction City, and it involves community partners from Riley County, Geary County, and Dickinson County. And they had two Dr. Clarks that spoke, and they are involved with mental health issues and some of the treatment, and of course with the PTSD, but that's something too that it in so many ways touches every family and so on. And I'm on the Central Kansas Mental Health Board, so it was interesting to hear their insights on it and some of the treatments that they are using. And they had people from Stormontville there, but anyway, and they were from Western Kansas originally, so it was, I think they had a good perspective of this area. And then I also attended Township Night, and I think probably Craig or others may touch on that more. And that's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Lynn. In our work session this morning, Tim Hamilton was in, our planning and zoning administrator, talked about some issues that he has, and Lisa Birch, our appraiser, she was talking about the I guess she wouldn't say print, how the tax deals are going and stuff like that. I also attended the Township Night, thought it went very well. And that's all I have for that. Now we'll get to the important stuff here is public comments and stuff. Please step to the podium. Give your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 to 5 minutes. If you're talking about the same subject somebody else talked to, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Harsh Dickens, 1924, 1200 Avenue, Hope, Kansas. A government is responsible for protecting its citizens. As a small tract property owner under the proposed wind turbine project, we will have 4 turbines greater than 600 feet in height within approximately 3 city blocks. That's your 1,400 foot proposed offset by my home. I'm employing these commissioners to protect me as a homeowner from the onslaught of turbines from the proposal to be erected around my home. Enclosed is a wind turbine impact study. I will provide that to you, supporting my concerns as a homeowner. This study demonstrated a negative impact of 29 to 39% loss estimate based on the proximity and positioning for homesteads that have turbines within their view shed. Sales within the turbine areas of that study were also fewer, but on average 40% less in value compared to outside the turbine areas. And in a recent study that CNN released on March 14th, 2024, it claims home values only drop by 1% if you live within 5 to 6 miles from a turbine. The study states only 250,000 homes out of 300 million lived within 1 mile from a turbine. Considering the 1,400 offset that is proposed, this situation don't really apply to us. I encourage you to drive to 370th and Indy Road, look and listen at these turbines. And they're about 200 or 300 feet shorter than what we're proposed for this county. They're massive. You can't landscape to hide from it. No trees are tall enough. Turbines look much different up close compared to driving down the road, and they're a mile or more away. Would you buy a home right there where you're standing right now with the sounds of thumping, and you literally will hear that, and the clicking of metal and winding turbine engines running around it? I have lived and cared for my property in Hope, Kansas for over 30 years, just like you gentlemen care for yours. I deserve fair representation as a homeowner and a taxpayer. We, the people of this county, request a permanent ban on turbines or a 3-year moratorium. Thank you for allowing me to speak today, and thanks for all the people that showed up to support us.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Steve Johnson. I reside at 1536 Mill Road, Enterprise, Kansas. That's in Dickinson County, for anybody that doesn't know. It's estimated by the year 2037, we in agriculture will need to feed 9 billion people. As most of you know, they aren't making any more land. So my question to you is, why would we want to give control of our ag land to a foreign-owned company to put the most non-efficient, heavily subsidized way of producing a very small amount of energy? This is an agriculture community. In my opinion, we need to keep it that way. In a recent conversation with the crop duster from Marion County, he stated the immense risk of flying their fields with wind turbines and has to flat out refuse to spray in certain areas if the danger is too great. Even with the ground spray rigs, the turbines and roads leading to them will create a huge loss in farming efficiency. Another one of my concerns about the wind farms is the lack of regulations and the setbacks. All other industries have mountains of regulations and setbacks to meet before being approved. Just try to get approved for a hog finishing building or a cattle feedlot and see how much opposition you will get. The reason? Mainly the smell, which obviously affects other people's quality of life. So why is a wind farm free of regulations and setbacks? As far as I know, there's no smell, but there is various health risks, the flicker effect, high decibel of noise, and they're certainly affecting our beautiful countryside appearance for the worse. So in other words, they affect people's quality of life. My point is, what you do on your property can and does affect my property, my health, and my livelihood. To make matters even worse, you're taking money from the taxpayer to create this boondoggle. It's total insanity to make our most important energy network dependent on the weather. These are just some of the reasons I support a complete ban on wind farms in Dickinson County, Kansas. or at the very least, a 3-year moratorium. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Art Hettenbach, 2023 1200 Avenue, Hope. Just right down the road from the first speaker. Wind towers are so thin in construction, they cannot weld on the tower. They will fatigue it. Ladders to the top is affixed in the interior with 600-pound magnets. When installing the tubular tower, the wind speeds reach excess of 12 miles an hour. They stop construction and leave the lift cap on because the swirling wind will entering the tower once again can fatigue it and ruin it. I learned some of this information on site of a Kansas wind farm. One of the hardest things to do is get good information on wind farms. Why? Because the companies building them know the issues you will see once constructed. So before construction, landowners sign gag orders. And if they talk about dead eagles, dead waterfowl, shadow flash, noise, sound waves, etc., they will lose their money guaranteed by contracts. I've read stories about people spray foaming insulation on one whole side of their house to stop noise, sound waves, and the shadow flash. The way I understand is all liabilities lay with the landowner from fire, sound pollution, visual effects, ice sling. And ice sling affects thousands of feet, and landowners can be sued for this. I've been told by one of you that the county needs more money and this will bring money to the county. My question is, what effect on the county, the people, the environment? Is it worth it? I can tell you it bothers me every time I drive home on Rain Road to see the lights at night or on a clear day. I can actually see the towers and the props of the Tampa wind farm. It's approximately 20 miles from my house. I was told that the wind farm is supposed to reach east all the way to Lincolnville, and this leg into Dickinson County was never planned to be constructed. I was also told by one of you that only people that don't want wind towers are the people that have them already. I believe those people are the most qualified to answer that question. You should listen to them. If you look around Dickinson County, you'll see way more no industrial wind farm signs than you see yes signs. I have yet to see a yes sign on land that is not owned by somebody receiving a tower if possible. A half section of land outside of Navarre sold for $1.7 million to out-of-county investors because of 2 to 3 proposed wind towers on it. I believe that the wind towers are not in the best interest of this county. A wind tower affects thousands of acres visually, and not just the quarter section it sets on. If they're 350 feet tall, a tower can fall on 8.8 acres. A 700-foot tower can fall on nearly 35 acres, which is 1.5 million square feet. These towers have nothing to do with agriculture base of this county. They're industry, squatting on for 10, 20, 30 years. And then what will become of them? EPA Superfund cleanup site or just skeletons in time waiting for them to fall down? We don't know. Last thing I'd say, if you drive to Dodge City, the last 19 miles into Dodge, there's wind towers for 2 to 3 miles on each side of the road. We really don't want Dickinson County looking like that. Thank you.
Next speaker, want to come forward? Only once.
Don't have notes. I'm not a speaker and I'm scared to death to be in front of people. My name is Sher Johnson and I'm from 1536 Nail Road, Enterprise, Kansas. People are too scared to get up and talk. I've heard people too scared to get involved because people around them are getting wind turbines on their ground and have been nasty and they're scared and they don't want to get involved because of the backlash they're going to get from their neighbors who have wind turbines, supposedly contracts on their ground. People can say, they can laugh at the issues of the health issues. We can ignore all that. I want to know why Abilene is in the process of getting, and I don't know what the term is, where you get a zoning law where the wind turbines cannot be within 3 miles of the town. Townships can do that, and Abilene's in the process of doing that, I've heard. So people are concerned, they don't want them near them, but if money is in the background, then they want a part of that. And to me, I guess I feel like, why are we selling our freedoms and our land to foreign countries? This isn't even an American-owned country. It's from Italy that owns Enel. The other wind farmers that are around our area are not owned by Americans. They're foreign-owned. So I watched a video the other day from the former governor of Oklahoma, who was the one who originally was the governor when they got the wind turbines in Oklahoma. And he is now coming out saying it was a mistake, he was wrong, and he wants people to fight against them because it's hurting the county, the state. It's very detrimental to the taxpayers. I think that you guys ought to look into stuff like that instead of, I don't know what your relationship is with people behind the scenes who are offering money to the county, who are donating to food banks, who are telling us how much money we're going to get from this project. I don't think we should believe them. I think you should believe us, the county residents who pay taxes. I know that there's people for them, but ask them who. It's the ones that are going to supposedly get big dollars for getting them on their ground. And they can say that they want to contribute to other sources of energy that are more helpful. That's not true. It's been proven that wind energy is less than 10% efficient. It's not cost effective. What are we going to do with these big monstrosities when they're no longer working or when the company goes bankrupt? There's no regulations. Oh, we'll remove them. When? We want details of a timeline where they have to, which they don't even obey that. In the past, in other states, they've been supposed to be removed and they aren't. Companies aren't going to do that. They leave. They're from a different country. They don't care. Money should not be the speaker, and it shouldn't be a political issue where people are just caring about money. You need to look at the consequences down the road, the consequences to the people who are near them, and the consequences to the future. And I don't know. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lisasler, and I'm at 119 South B in Harrington. I don't live in the country, but I do know that our little county is part of a drought right now. And I want to bring attention to the fact that wind turbines affect a lot of our environment, and it has to do with moisture. It has to do with the way that it turns the wind, and it changes the layout of our jet stream, our storm lines. These are things that don't affect people far away. That's a local thing. They don't know. I have some research here on a couple of different articles from scientists that talk about how it can change the temperatures. It can change it changes the wind speeds at night and drops the temperatures during the day and raises them at night, which can affect our agriculture. It can also affect just getting moisture in general because it's not settled in layers like it is without turbines. So we are already in a drought. If these things come in, how much worse is that going to make it? That's something to take into account. I don't know how much studying they do about that because there's several places that have complained about their climate in their area has changed due to wind turbines, downwinds, and it changes the wind streams. These are all things that, along with health and climate and just in nature, it'll change the way our birds migrate through here. It will change the way that they reproduce, where they reproduce, and it'll change the fact that they're even around. Some of them may even go extinct. We have a lot of problems with turbines taken out and affecting bats. If bats go, bugs come. If bugs come, what happens to the rest of our crops? these kind of things need to be taken into account before we just decide that this is what's best for the sake of money. Thank you.
Any comments from the audience? Anybody? Whoops, thank you.
Yes, my name is Dan Rife, and I did not intend to come in here and make any comments. But as my wife will tell you, sometimes that doesn't work out.
Dan, what's your, Dan,
I am a member,
what's your address?
1372 Key Road.
Thank you.
I am a member of the local Tri-County Telephone Board. And when we take on any projects like this, that affects so many people, we do our due diligence. And that's expensive and it's time consuming, but it's well worth it to avoid getting yourself into trouble or anybody else into trouble. And sometimes it comes back, no, this is not going to be worth your efforts. And in that case, we take action and just drop it. I'm encouraging you to do your due diligence. I have read an article where this same company operating out of Hope, NL, has been ordered by a judge in Oklahoma to remove 84 of these towers from the Osage Indian tribe because they did not have the correct permitting. Now, how an international company like that, with access to over 1,000 lawyers probably, can possibly mess that kind of situation up I don't understand. That's a mystery to me. But you are encouraged to go talk to a lawyer before you sign these contracts anyway. The landowner is, and that's fine. However, my lawyer could dedicate maybe a half an hour. They have more than 100 on their staff that could dedicate 100 days or more. So I am encouraging this commission to say no, at least until we have completely done our due diligence on it, the subject. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Go ahead and come up again. My name's Teresa. I'm at Hope, Kansas, 25 East Broadway. I'm going to sweep up a few little topics that were skipped over. You mentioned the natives. This company, NL, is estimated that they are going to have to spend $300 million to take down those turbines. Well, it also came out in the news that they will be taken back to court by the same natives for damages. And they're looking at millions more. NL itself, I'm not 100% sure how they're even still running. Like I said, they already are running in the billions in debt. The other problem that we are seeing is that this is all very hidden. Like they said, Googling it's even difficult because they want to see that. They want to see them built. There's money moving back and forth behind the scenes. But when you sell electricity twice, and they do sell these through green certificates or green tags, and then they sell them to the electric company, and yet you're still not profitable, you're still in debt. This is very concerning. Who's not going to get paid in the end? Probably the county. I mean, that in the end, Marion's not getting the money they were promised. They had to take them to court, and they're now paying on the backside. So looking at it financially, Enel is not a good company to depend on and to bring into our county. So we really need to be thinking about that and looking at the news and watching this and continuing to watch it for years to come rather than jumping on this. So we're asking you to please ban them or at least do a 3-year moratorium. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Pam Wells, 1543 1600 Avenue, Enterprise, Kansas. We found out about this in June and have been working with people locally since to try to bring this to the attention of folks in Dickinson County because there's still a lot of people that don't know about it. However, for our efforts, we have 300 plus signatures right here asking that you ban wind turbines in Dickinson County. And I have another pile that I was given today that we'd like to make copies of before we turn in. So we're 300 plus. I'd just like to highlight a few things that are on your website, on the Dickinson County website. Agricultural, open space, rural preservation. The rural agricultural landscape is an essential part of the character and environmental quality of Dickinson County and factors heavily into the perception of the county as an extraordinary place to live, work, or visit. The rural working landscape provides open space and scenic views of the countryside. Simply stated, people are attracted to Dickinson County because of vast arenas of farmland, open space, rural charm. Additionally, a large share of the local economy is generated from agricultural production, and 10% of the workforce is employed directly or indirectly in agriculture. This is part of the problem that we can't get more people to speak up is because they're afraid, because their livelihood depends on agriculture, and many of the people that have contracts are farmers, so they're afraid to speak up against those people. The county must recognize the economic challenge facing farmers and at the same time the need to balance private property rights with overall public welfare. Agricultural land use is vastly more compatible with the conservation of natural resources such as open space, wildlife habitat, and watershed management than any alternative land use. This is in your own website. This has nothing to do, the turbines have nothing to do with any of these things that Dickinson County is about. Loss of farmland underpins the economic backbone of the county at many levels and would be an environmental, economic, fiscal blunder not to act to protect and enhance agricultural land resources. There was, I have so many areas I'd like to touch on. We're short on water right now. They're going to use our water. According to their contracts, they can dig wells to put these huge concrete blocks in our ground that won't be removed. They only remove 4 feet when they take them out. They're going to use our water. We're short on rock. We've been coming to these commission meetings and listening. We know we're short on rock. We know it's expensive. They're going to use that rock. And then where are we going to get it? We already have a problem with getting it, and it's expensive. To be able to generate smart growth, land use plan, both citizens and citizen leaders must know what they collectively are responsible for. You gentlemen have been voted in to protect your citizens, not this company. Dickinson County has historically been an agricultural community founded on good soil resources. In fact, over 95% of the county has been determined to be prime farmland or farmland of statewide importance. If these go in, and there's a tornado that hits one, it's going to fling fiberglass everywhere. And our land is no longer going to be viable to farm. And now we're looking at solar regulations. And solar, if a hailstorm hits them, it ruins the ground. That poison goes into the ground and ruins it permanently. The areas determined to be best soil should remain agricultural use and not be converted to alternative land uses. This is stuff that's in the land plan that I read when I was trying to get on the zoning board to increase the regulations to protect our citizens. A study group that was done during 2022 allow a mix of land uses while also preserving portions of the landscape and natural resources along I-70. Is along I-70 the only important part of Dickinson County? No, we have this railroad that comes through here. We have Flint Hills. We need to protect those. Encourage development that is in harmony with the surrounding built natural environment. These are not natural.
Pam, can you wrap it up here? pushing 5 minutes.
Okay, I apologize.
Oh, that's fine.
The graph of the study that was done, 13% of Dickinson County residents were concerned about wind farms. If this is going to happen, then it should be because the citizens want it. The citizens don't want it. And I would ask you to at least address this issue and vote on whether we have a moratorium for 3 years or ban these. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery like to speak? Anybody on the internet?
Oh.
Thank you for public comment. We'll move now to the officer's report. So,
Actually, you've got the public hearing for the tax abatement application.
yeah, okay. We have a public hearing for regarding tax abatement property application by Can Equip over in Solomon. I'll open the public hearing now. Janelle?
Commissioners, Can Equip has applied for a tax exemption for the property that they have purchased there in Solomon. It's the old Chuck Henry, good grief, property there. And they are anticipating that they would be remodeling and repurposing the existing structure. And they're going to add another 25,250 square foot to that existing structure. That would be used for storage, and then 20% for retail and another 80% for assembly and repair. They are anticipating that they would have 3.5 million in improvements and 175,000 in personal property that they would be utilizing on this project. They're anticipating creating 16 new jobs this year, and then by 2034, 23 new jobs. So for our ordinance 09-1498, this does fall within that, or it meets the guidelines in that ordinance. So we're requesting that you would approve that once we get to the resolution. So do you have any questions for me? I can also tell you that the Solomon School District, I spoke with their board president, and they are in favor of it. The school board is in favor of it as well, because this will impact county, school, and city taxes. So the abatement is a 10-year abatement, 100% the first year, and then 90% the second year, 80% roll on down. So it meets the criteria under the state of Kansas for exemptions. So
Anybody in the audience like taking public comments on the tax abatement?
This is in this, not only the school district for Solomon, but is it within the city
it
limits?
is within the city limits, yes.
And so they've had opportunity
They have,
to make comments in advance and still could.
right, and they certainly could, so, yes.
Ron?
No comment.
No.
I'll move we close the public hearing. Okay, now we'll go to officers, reports to county officers.
Go ahead and make the motion that we,
Close the public hearing?
you
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll second it. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Now, county administrator Janelle.
Commissioners, there's, it's kind of a lull, I would say almost, but it's not. Marcus and department managers are working on budgets. Environmental services are attending a waste reduction conference this week. We have a new employee in dispatch, and their trainer is taking them out in the county so they can learn the various points in the county that they would be dispatching to. Zoning is actually going to be participating on a call with the Division of Water Resources on the Lower Smoky modeling. Now, this will not affect our floodplain maps. It's just more of an informational meeting that they are participating in. The good news is they're pouring concrete at 1022 Highway 40 tomorrow. So all the concrete has been removed, which is great. Finally, after a length of time, the utilities have been moved, and that's taken place. So they should be back on track. And you had noted that we had township meeting on Monday night. We had 82 township officers and staff there, and I believe it was very well received. We had good feedback and comments, and the goal was to hear more from them about issues that they're facing and what's going on there. So that's all I would have.
Old 40, we're still having problems with people trespassing.
We have added additional barriers out there, and the one gentleman that lives there at the nursery is the one, so we moved the barrier back and nothing else has been brought forward yet. So
Because he had part of his property he needed to access.
Exactly. So that's all I would have.
Any other questions for Janelle, Ron, Lynn? Doug?
Thank you. Julianne, on the court system is running at about 110%, doing everything they can to keep up with the caseload, and appreciate all of the good hard work that's going into that. And I think plans are in work for the change to the courtroom and courtroom number 2 that'll help out on jury trials. I should say correction, courtroom number 1.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Has it been, it's in the works a bit installed, or is it in?
It's not been installed yet.
Okay.
Yeah. We're waiting on them to get back with when they can come in and do that.
Fine. Thank you.
Any questions for Doug? No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mail, we have a road groomer manufacturing. We'll give this to Martin. It's a tool that's used for maintaining unpaved surfaces.
A new process, maybe?
No, it's just a piece of equipment. It's like a rake.
Oh,
Yeah, it's probably not practical for us, but might be. Okay. Now, the resolution,
I did just
I'm sorry.
one other thing. I received a phone call from an individual who lives north of Abilene, and he was concerned, just wanted us to be aware of any information we had on High Plains Resources, and that they are doing some testing, seismic type testing, but also reaching out to property owners for permission to go on their land possibly. And the concern that he had, they had been up in Marshall County. And so he's hopeful that there's communication. If they have heavy trucks and equipment, what roads they would use. And, but to take it a step further, there is an informational meeting on April 24th in Abilene. There's also one, I believe they're going to have one in Clay County.
Yeah.
But
Washington, but Clay was working on another one.
yeah. Yeah, in Washington, that's the next night. But anyway, they'll have that informational meeting. And I guess they do have certain rights that if it is in a right of way, they can bring equipment in for testing, but they're wanting to communicate with the property owners.
Right, and they would have a form that they would ask the property owner to sign, allowing them to access their property to conduct some of the tests.
So is there permitting if they go on?
If it's on private property and they're just testing, no.
Okay. That's all I had. I just received notification and a phone call on that.
Introduction, consideration of the resolution 032824, tax abatement. Can equip,
Commissioners, this is the formality where you're passing the resolution for the intent to exempt the ad valorem taxation for real property owned by Can Equipment there at 525 North Poplar. And this is for the 10-year tax abatement, 100% taxes for the county, the city, and the school. And then it goes down in 10% increments through the years. So this is part of the process that they have to submit to the appraiser's office along with their application, and then that would go to the Board of Tax Appeals. So we would ask for your approval of the resolution.
I'd move that we adopt resolution 032824. This is a tax abatement for Can Equip.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. You might, the number of employees you're adding.
They're looking to add this year 16 employees and then by 2034, 23 employees. So improvements of $3.5 million, adding personal property of $175,000. So they are remodeling and adding on. They're adding on a 25,250 square foot to the existing structure that they have. And that would be used for storage. And then their new structure will be 20% retail and then 80% assembly and repair.
And the improvements for 3.5 million.
3.5 million, correct.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. No unfinished business. Bids for the replacement of 1312 2100 Avenue.
Commissioners, this is bids that we've received from Contact Engineered Solutions. And this is for two 96 by 35 by 1 corrugated T2 coating 12 gauge tubes, and then a band that we found this structure as one of the farmers was out walking his land and noticed it. So, and this is a pretty good sized tube, as you can see. So we received two bids. Contact was $9,611 and Wellborn Sales was $10,663.25. Staff is recommending the culverts from Contact at the 9611. So we would ask for your approval on that and we can get started on the project.
I'll make a motion to accept the 9611 bid from Contact Engineering Solutions.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approve the appointment of Trevor Martin to the Lincoln Township Board trustee.
So you have a letter there from the township officers that Dan Bass had resigned back in December, and they have found someone to fill that position, and that is Trevor Martin. And he is willing to do that, which is awesome. So we would ask that you would approve that recommendation.
I'll make the motion that we approve Trevor Martin. Lincoln Township trustee.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Certified votes cast for the presidential primary election. Jeannie.
Yes, this is just a recap that we have to have as a permanent file. And it's the end results of the presidential primary. And so we just need you to approve that so we can sign this.
You might percentage and stuff. I mean, we
Okay.
talked about it last week.
Yes. Let me get that. We had 8.86% was the total turnout with 1183 voters, total ballots cast. And there are 13,354 registered voters. So.
Closing for Jeannie. If not, I'll move that we certify the president's primary election.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Future meeting and agenda items. The KAC. This is County Government Recognition Month. The event will be tomorrow at the Capitol on 29th March. The North Central Kansas Highway Association meeting, April 3rd, in Persons. And the county has a department has a defensive driving class in the courthouse basement room, 10 to 2 or 1 to 3. And then the Kansas County Commissioner Association's annual meeting can be April 16th to the 18th at Crawford, Pittsburgh. Any other comments someone would like to make? Not all. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it. Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. We stand adjourned.